Coming up first at 4, 7 people are shot after a person opens fire into a crowd of at least 100 people on Detroit's west side. What we're learning straight ahead. But first, here's Paula.
A mighty hefty carrot being dangled to get Detroit's teachers back into the classroom.
That we will give $2,000 in hazard pay, so about $500 every quarter for working in person.
See how students will be the big winners in the long run.
And Paula, temperatures are up, but the humidity is not, and this is all coming without a storm threat, at least until tomorrow morning. We'll run down multiple chances of strong storms this week. Right now, first at 4.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
2 bodies were discovered inside a home on Detroit's west side. That's the breaking news we begin with here at 4. It happened on Burden Street near Moross and I-94. Police are still at this scene interviewing neighbors. Right now, it's unclear what happened to the people involved and how long they've been there. We'll keep you posted on any new details. Also at 4, police search for the person who shot 7 people at a candlelight vigil near Asbury and McNichols on Detroit's west side. 6 people are in serious condition. 1 is critical. Police say the suspect was driving a lime green Chevy Camaro. They're also searching for a black Chevy Tahoe that was seen fleeing this area. Just moments ago, Detroit Police Chief, the interim chief, I should say, James White, addressed the shooting.
Very, very tragic situation where someone would do something like that, firing into a crowd of over 100 people at 10 o'clock at night in our city. So we need the community's help in identifying these perpetrators and bringing them to justice.
Interim Chief White says there are 4 people of interest in this case. Tonight at 5, Priya Mann has a closer look at the search for the shooter. Governor Gretchen Whitmer in Ypsilanti today to sign a new bill that will help Michiganders recover from this summer's historic flooding.
We are hopeful that we can infuse some resources now through this action, that the federal dollars will start to flow in, but that they will also give us the ability to expand our requests, because of course we now have homeowners that have been hit multiple times or for the first time that weren't included in that first initial declaration.
This new bill will provide more than $384 million in relief funding. About $10 million will go to restoration costs and other expenses resulting from the flooding. 2/3 will go to hospitals and long-term care facilities with financial pressure because of the pandemic. Local police departments will also receive some of this money. Today, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan issued the city's first ever strategic plan to help Detroiters with disabilities. It comes 31 years after the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law. The 3-year plan has 3 phases focused on increasing public engagement and community partnerships, raising disability awareness, and developing an accessible city.
I want a strategic plan. I don't want on the anniversary of the ADA just to do a certificate. I want us to tell the community what the city of Detroit is committed to for the long run.
According to the 2019 American Community Survey, at least 117,000 people with disabilities live in Detroit. The Detroit Public Schools Community District and its teachers have reached an agreement to return to classrooms for in-person learning. Paula Tutman has a look at the late-breaking details.
I've talked to parents who say their children just did not do well in remote learning. And that's why they're so anxious for their students to get back into the classroom. And frankly, teachers are excited as well. But also keep in mind that for this deal struck between the Detroit Public Schools Community District and its teachers union is so critical because it represents 3,000 teachers. Think about that for a moment. 3,000 teachers. That's more teachers than some districts have students. And that's why this deal is so meaningful. Start with a chronic absentee rate of 70%. That means 3/4 of Detroit students didn't or were not able to regularly attend class during the pandemic. Community spread kept the doors closed to in-person learning and even the learning centers for much of the last part of the school semester. But one lesson that was learned was the important lesson between the district and its teachers union, the Detroit Federation of Teachers. The squabbles between administration and the union have been legendary for years. But during the pandemic, the two sides may have stumbled in the beginning, but appear to be in lockstep in more ways than not now.
It became a matter of life and death for our community. And I think when that happens, it takes it to a different level. It gives it a different tone. When you're talking about the health and well-being of people, particularly Black people here in the city of Detroit, it takes a different spirit.
The announcement today that a reopening plan has been reached is a big deal. Now, this is not the teacher's contract. That's still being negotiated, but a deal has been reached and is expected to be ratified that gives teachers a way to get back into the classrooms. Up to $2,000 in hazard pay by teaching in person and an additional $2,000 if they're needed to teach a hybrid unit.
Our teachers union has agreed that all teachers and ancillary staff, so counselors, guidance counselors, social workers, et cetera, will be back in buildings in the fall, every day of the school year next year. And part of that agreement means that we will give $2,000 in hazard pay, so about $500 every quarter for working in person. So I've always said that I think our teachers and our employees deserve to be paid at a higher level than their counterparts in other districts because the work is harder.
Class sizes will be smaller.
There are too many students in a classroom where the opportunity of this virus spreading can happen. We want to make sure that physical distancing is adhered to, the social distancing is there. Those are the carrots that our teachers want to see, because for them, they're back doing what they love to do, but they want to do it in a healthy and safe environment.
And teachers and students will have to show documentation that they are vaccinated in order for masks to be removed. And if community spread goes up, that will be revisited. All in all, with various ESSER funds, the recently signed school budget, corporate partnerships, and now the most important partnership, that between the district and the union, Detroit Public Schools Community District, the state's largest district, is putting its plans on Front Street to get students back in from the sidelines.
I think we're all just excited to see more students in schools in the fall. We know we have a lot of work to do regarding learning loss and overcoming extreme absenteeism next year. I'm just excited to get to this new normal after the pandemic and work with our students who we know need a lot of work. They need a lot of support.
Well, we thank you for joining us for this online version, but make sure you come back at 5 o'clock on Local 4, because Dr. Viti also tells me a secret, something few people knew, what happened to him over his Christmas vacation that also drives his need to make sure his students and teachers remain safe during this pandemic, which is not over. I'll see you at 5. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
See you then, Paula. The Department of Veterans Affairs is now requiring all its medical employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine. We also just learned California will require proof of COVID-19 vaccination or weekly testing for all state workers and healthcare employees. New York City made a similar announcement this morning. It's requiring nearly all municipal workers to get vaccinated by September or undergo weekly coronavirus tests. Meantime, as COVID-19 cases surge in the U.S., major medical groups call for employers to mandate vaccines for healthcare workers. More than 50 medical groups, including the American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics, issued a joint statement today advocating vaccines as the primary way to put the pandemic behind us. Health officials say they are worried about the highly contagious Delta variant, as nearly half the country remains unvaccinated. They say facilities must put patients first and take all steps necessary to ensure their health and well-being. The White House addressed this statement today. Listen.
And there, of course, is an active discussion about a range of steps that can be taken, as there has been from the first day of this administration. Certainly, the surge in cases among unvaccinated because of the Delta variant prompts, even more discussion about what actions can be taken.
We are also hearing the CDC could soon recommend fully vaccinated people should again wear masks indoors because of the rise in cases. We're going to have more on that coming up on Local 4 News at 5:30. Two communities are cleaning up after tornadoes ripped through the area over the weekend. Macomb County and White Lake Township in Oakland County were both hit by EF1 tornadoes on Saturday, and you can just see the damage there. The heavy winds brought down trees and damaged several homes and businesses. People in those areas say it could take months to get things back to normal. The township of Armada has activated a local state of emergency, and White Lake is requesting a state of emergency also be declared. DTE says there is extensive damage across Metro Detroit because of those storms Saturday night. More than 600 down wires were reported Sunday morning. At last check, more than 69,000 customers are without power. There are more than 2,000 crews in the field right now working to restore power. Well, let's turn our attention to the weather and what we can be expecting. And Ben, you mentioned off the top there the next storm threat, which I'm sure a lot of the people that were hit by those storms are in no rush to see again soon.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jason, we're in the statistically hottest part of the summer, so it goes without saying that our storm chances are probably going to be around, and they are this week as we go forward, but not today. We've got a dry finish and a pretty nice one at that. Beautiful blue skies and some kind of relatively less humid air out there right now. Current temperatures are in the 80s, in fact, close to 90 degrees there in Detroit. But that number at the bottom, the TD, that's the dew point temperature, and it's in the 50s for most locations. That's relatively dry air with just Adrian ticking up to 60. Now that humidity comes back tomorrow, and we will be seeing our thunderstorm chances return, in fact, pretty early as well. We're keeping our eyes on Minnesota and the UP, where some of those showers are just starting to grow this afternoon, and they'll eventually be here, at least in parts of the area, as we get into the overnight hours and tomorrow morning. And you can see that's mainly going to affect the north zone. These storms should be weakening as they move in from the north, so we're not anticipating any severe activity on Tuesday morning. But some of these storms could linger into the afternoon. They'll mainly be kind of pop-up lingering stuff as you sort of see the back end of that main line move forward in the morning. So it's possible we could see an afternoon storm, but I think a lot of us will miss out on that. And then we turn our attention to Wednesday night. That is our next chance of seeing wet weather. That is going to be the strongest round, and that does have the potential to become severe. A lot of this isn't going to push until closer to daybreak on Thursday morning, so let's hope coming through at the coolest, most stable part of the day will help keep our severe threat at a minimum. But you can see that cold front behind it. That is got cooler and drier air. So even though the temperatures are going to be noticeable and definitely the humidity in the next few days, we go back to some pretty refreshing air as we head into the back end of Thursday, and especially as we head into the upcoming weekend. So temperatures going forward are still going to be at or above average. Tonight, 66 degrees is where we're going to end up for an overnight low. And again, thunderstorms mostly in the north zone. 88 on the high side tomorrow. With higher humidity, heat index readings are going to be an issue. And a lot of spots are going to feel like it is hotter than 90. 92 at Romulus tomorrow afternoon, and probably in the city as well. South zone heat index readings likely all in the 90s. You're already seeing that humidity increase a little bit down there this afternoon. Right around 90, maybe some low 90s out there in the west zone, and not a whole lot cooler in the north zone, except for parts of Sanilac County. And remember, you're going to see multiple rounds of showers and storms, so that should keep our temperatures and humidity, or at least the temperatures, down just a little bit in the northern sections of the north zone. So the heat is with us until that front comes through, and then as we get into the weekend, 78 on Friday with low humidity. That's going to feel good with dry conditions. There is some question about timing with those showers and storms over the weekend, Jason. So as of right now, don't change any plans, but we're going to have to keep our eyes on both days to be watching for shower and thunderstorm threats on Saturday and Sunday.
It's a good time to download the Local Forecasters app. That's what you meant to say.
All right. Took it out of the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Ben, we'll see you at 5. Let's wrap this online edition with an Olympics medal count, shall we? Right now, Team USA has 14 total medals, 7 of those gold, 3 silver, and 4 bronze. That puts them in second place, though, in Tokyo. The host country, Japan, has the lead with 13 medals, including 8 gold, and China is in third with 18 medals. 6 of those are gold, but they're still going. Here's a look at our online or our on-air lineup tonight. 7 o'clock, special time. That's Jeopardy tonight. That'll be followed by our special Olympic Zone coverage and primetime Olympic coverage after that. Local 4 News will air at 11:30 tonight. Thanks for joining us on this click-on edition of First at 4. We'll see you back on air at 5.